Hello everyone, this is Nice Geek, and I have watched the 8th episode of Watchmen, and I can say that I'm a bit stumbled by the series. I'm surprised, both pleasantly and negatively every time I watch this, because once more, this episode is proving me wrong about what I was saying about the previous reviews, and also it kind of manages to disappoint me in a new way. Let's get to the good part. Angela has a personality. Yes, it's finally here. She has a personality. This review will be very spoilery because this is the second to last episode in this season, and there is no way, if you reach this far in a series that is intricate and complicated like that, you'll be able to review this episode without spoilers. So, you're warned. If you haven't watched this episode, you may not be able to make sense of this review. So, in episode 8, we have the story of how Angela and Dr. Manhattan met and how Dr. Manhattan managed to be in her husband's body, in Carl's body, because that was the big reveal of episode 7, that Carl is Dr. Manhattan in human form. He was, like Jesus. He became human for the love of a woman, or as Angela says, it's a Zeus move. He transformed into something to get in the pants of a woman. But this episode also touches upon something that Alan Moore did not elaborate too much in the Watchmen graphic novel. He mentions that he plays with the idea, but didn't do too much with it. In this series, David Ledinoff does elaborate more and tries to touch more upon this concept, the omniscience of Dr. Manhattan. Dr. Manhattan is able to experience time as a whole. He is experiencing everything as he exists within the time warp. So he's able to know the events that will come, and sometimes, like an omnipotent god, he is able to expect it, and this alienates people. This intrigues and alienates Angela, who he meets in a bar 10 years before the show starts, and tells her that I'm in love with you. And later in this episode we see the exact moment he falls in love with her, and he knows that, so that's why he is visiting her back then. So we have, as he says in a moment, the chicken didn't make the egg, or vice versa, they both became together. And that's how I feel about this series, that all episodes should be viewed together before you're able to talk about them. So that's why my reviews are mixed. And before Dr. Manhattan says that, we're in the present. Carl has just become Dr. Manhattan again, and he tells Angela that right now I'm talking with your grandfather, which happened 10 years ago before he became man with a gizmo Ozymandias gave him. And also we'll learn how Ozymandias ended up in his castle in Europa, satellite of Mars, of Jupiter, sorry. Angela asks Dr. Manhattan, ask my grandfather how he learned that Jude was a member of Cyclops. The villains of this show, the Rorschach-like villains, the 7th Cavalry. And her grandfather says, who's Judd? So Angela realizes that she herself kickstarted the whole event by talking with Dr. Manhattan. That's a time paradox, and that makes the whole episode and the whole series hard to follow. I mean, I've said before that Watchmen is a very intricate yet very simple story. It's a whodunit, but this Alan Moore guy just went places one wouldn't expect. It's kinda hard when you try to follow in the footsteps of giants like Alan Moore. When you try to write after a great write, everything you do will just reveal your limitations. And much of the issues with Watchmen, with the previous episodes, is because of that, because there was a plan all along. There was this time loop, this paradox in its core, and it did not explain some things. Some things didn't make sense because they didn't make sense, if you catch my drift. This series is like the chicken and the egg. They exist together. There is no causality. Everything is put together. And this episode was amazing because it was very dramatic, very emotional, despite the very cerebral concept of time travel and this time loop. It manages to pull out emotion out of both Angela and Dr. Manhattan. Angela is great in this episode. She really proves that she has a personality, and it shows the way she meets Dr. Manhattan, the way she acts around him, and the way she tries to fight the cavalry. as they attack them. She has emotions, she has drive, she has personality that would make somebody like Dr. Manhattan feel challenged because she is not impressed by this godlike being appearing before her. She cajoles with him, she resists his flirtations. It's a great episode. It was really good, but still the whole causality loop and the way it leaves some foreshadowing about Angela getting Dr. Manhattan's powers in the next episode, because it's very clear that somebody can become Dr. Manhattan in this series, and it will probably be Angela, I guess. But again, this series has surprised me so many times that I won't say, oh, it's a given. No, it's not. But the way it plays with this concept of the loop is very emotional. It kind of reminds me of the movie Arrival or the novella Arrival by Ted Chiang, that has a very similar concept, and it's in a different way. It manages to show the alienation of experience time altogether. Again, it's very hard to feel what the heroes feel, but at the same time, Watchmen pulls it off in a very dramatic way, in a very tragic way, and you cannot understand why Dr. Manhattan does what he does, but it doesn't matter because you cannot understand what a god does. There's no way to do that, and the Ozymandias side plot also deals with his divinity complex, because he's not imprisoned in the castle in Europa by Dr. Manhattan. He asks to go there, to be a god upon the humans that Dr. Manhattan created, and this hubris is what drives him mad as he stays there. That's why he wants to leave, because he's their god, the god of these people in Europa had abandoned them, and he's also trapped with them, and he's lonely because they're not his peers. He's above them, and Dr. Manhattan is probably feeling the same way. He's feeling alienated and alone, and that's also something that was used by Alan Moore in Watchmen, but never from Dr. Manhattan's point of view. It was mostly mentioned by Alan Moore, he was given his personality, but there was never such an elaboration of it. Actually, there was the origin story of Dr. Manhattan, but you get my drift. I think that Watchmen should be watched in one sitting. It's a binge-worthy series, a series you should watch together, and maybe go back to the previous episodes. It maybe needs a second viewing to see the way some of the threads are weaved in the plot, and the way some things are foreshadowed for the plot and the characters. So I am waiting for the last episode. There will also be a non-spoiler review of the entire season, plus some spoiler videos about the series and where it goes. It's interesting. This series is interesting. It's very well made, of course. The production value is amazing, but it's a challenging series, and I think it manages to supplement the original material by taking it in places that they were expressed there but never quite explored, and they do that. And I have to say, yes, good work, guys. Keep going. So if you like this video, please press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you soon with another video. Thank you very much.